Welcome to Trust the Process Live. It is June 6th, but it really feels like red October here, boys. Like it's
Come
red
on
June
now.
right now, and if there was anybody to overreact, it would be me, especially for baseball. But we'll get to that. I'm your host here, James Hyden, back on the Phillies bandwagon, like I never left. Here with my guys, Josh Safran, Doc Locke. How are you?
Fantastic, man. Weather is beautiful. The city is beautiful. The bats are cracking sweet green grass. Man, what else could I ask for? We got the NBA finals going on. And this is where we hit our stride right here. You got overreactions, you got fun TV show rankings. Can't ask for much more. How are you doing, Banner Man? Let's throw it right back.
Me, I'm all right. I got to watch some baseball. So my sunbird's finally going away from Florida, and we got some good baseball on the TV. So
the Darius Saric post All-Star break look is, it's not for everyone.
Exactly. That'll come back around, just like everything does. The man of many digits, Max Coolish. What's up? Tatum was minus 36 last night.
36.
So the man of 30.
Digits.
Yeah, the man of 36 digits. What's up, Max?
Oh man, we're feeling good. I gotta say this. I'm a little salty. For the first time in about 2 weeks, I didn't catch a single second of a Phillies game, and that happened to be yesterday. Yeah, was out of the.
Well, you know what that means, though, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to forego. So good luck.
Like until they lose like 3 straight, like you can't watch.
Until they lose again, I will hand up. I'll be.
You're really gonna do it?
Yeah,
good for you.
Yeah.
It's tough. You guys know how much I love the Phillies.
Oh, come on. Don't give us that.
Good for you, man. Makai, what is up, man? We haven't seen Makai in a couple of weeks. We had to get him back on. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Been been relaxing, trying to get some things ready for the summer.
Beautiful. Summer's been good to you so far?
So far, yeah.
That's all we can ask. Let's get right into it. It's in the title. It's Red June, question mark, exclamation point, because let's be honest, first 3 games after they fired their manager, and that brings us into, just like we did, it is the year of interim managers and coaches. It was the year of Mike Yeo. It was the Mike Yeo era in the orange and black. And now we have career bench coach. And let me say this, guys, it is not wrong to be a career bench coach. Just like in the NFL, there's nothing wrong with being a career coordinator, not being able to take that next step, not being that guy. But career bench coach Rob Thomason, I personally don't think he's the next Joe Torre, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. So we're going to go around, and Max, I want to come to you first here, man. Are we full steam ahead? Like, you tell me, are we looking at Joe Torre here? Are we looking at the next Joe Torre?
I don't know about all that, but I know a good honeymoon phase when I see one, Banners.
Oh, yeah.
And oh boy, are we in one. Look.
All right.
I think that this team dug itself too big of a hole. Like, honestly, I don't know how you're going to catch the M words with an interim manager and already 15 games back. But I do think that, for the first time in all season, we've seen energy. We've seen life. We've seen a true, genuine. I didn't see it because I just said I didn't catch the game yesterday. But when you're down 6-2 in the 8th, talk like Bryce Harper, man, just MVP to the truest sense of the word. Talk about clutch, 2 outs, full count. Like that is that's the backyard stuff. Like that is the stuff you give yourself self-serve pitches to in the backyard, trying to crank one into the woods, 300 feet away, right? Like that's what you grow up dreaming about. And it was just that, and I think that there's evident sign is that Bryson Stott is the one to bring it home yesterday, right? Like, would he be sniffing the lineup with Joe Girardi still here? Like, sometimes it's addition by subtraction. You get rid of the guy with all the knowledge and the know-how, and you play the guy who is who's always just kind of sat back and like, this looks right, this looks wrong, this looks good, this doesn't. Let him go to work, and it just works sometimes. So I think that the Phillies are very much in a honeymoon phase. We're definitely going to have a nice comeback to earth at some point before the end of the month. But for right now, while the energy is high and everybody's feeling good, you got to ride it for what it's worth. It sucks that you're off today. It sucks.
We're talking about that. We were talking about that. Max, that's actually a very good point, though, because I'll tell you what, if Joe Girardi was still the manager, Bryson Stott would have been a defensive substitute. He would have gotten subbed out defensively before the 9th inning, so he wouldn't have been in there to hit that.
Or even considered at all, like,
lefty. He would have started, that's for sure.
So, Josh, we were talking about that before we went on, and let's start from the beginning. Are we in a new era? Should I go crazy with this? Should I take it and run, or are you going to bring me back? So, Joe Torre, yes, and then kind of expand on what Max just touched on there.
You guys set me up
for the show.
You guys set me up pretty damn well here, and I think Banners, you really set it up with that question. Like, is he like the next Joe Torre? Obviously, a little facetious there on the question, but look, obviously he's not the next Joe Torre. But I think there's a guy he could be the next version of, Brian Snitker. How about that for a name? For a guy who's been a career bench coach, for a guy who's been forced to wait in the wings. And, well, after he was waiting in the wings for a long time, the Atlanta Braves did pretty good over there. A World Series. Now, that's not the expectations, but I'm all in. And I think if you're not all in after this weekend, well, you just don't like fun. Like, how can you not be all in after? And you're right, Max, absolutely honeymoon phase, but why not? If you can get a few honeymoons in a baseball season, you're in the playoffs, right? It's really about these stretch runs. Here's where I'll break down Rob Thompson, though, and why I'm more in on the specifics. For what you said, he is a career bench coach where this guy has been starved. He was a minor leaguer. He never made it to the majors as a player. This guy has been so starved for an opportunity to be an MLB manager. You think Rob Thompson, who is treating this as his MLB managerial tryout, is thinking too much about playing a reliever 3 games in a row? No. This guy wants to win and prove he belongs by any means necessary. I think there's some desperation from him and a whole lot of desperation for us, the fans of Philadelphia, who have wanted to see their ball club in the playoffs for the last 10 years. Fellas, I'm in on this team, and I think it's also coming at the right time. You could say that they waited too long to fire Girardi, and I kind of agree, but I also think this came during a perfect time because you saw the ballpark this weekend. The Angels were in town. People were bringing the kids. My sister is still in public school. She gets off on Friday, gents. You know what that means. The kids are at the yard. The families are going down to the ballpark. This was the weekend to get everyone to buy in, and they freaking swept the Angels in the most improbable way. The vibes are immaculate, and to top it all off, I will address the Stott thing. Like, obviously, we're not expecting that guy to hit a walk-off home run every night, but Banners, you and I were talking about this. Bryce Harper said it. Not trusting the young guys. It's been a consistent thing with Joe Girardi where he'll go to a Ronald Torreyes before he lets Stott work out of a slump or something like that. And we loved Roto last year, but you're getting the feeling that you're going to build something from the ground up here. I am as positive as you can be right now because, fellas, it hasn't been the pitching this season, and this was the first home series of an opening day that they've quote-unquote smashed the bell. You know, it's like, finally, this is what we've been waiting for. I'm in the camp that this is the sign of things to come, not the pump the brakes camp.
All right. So, Makai, talk to me, man. These Phillies, they turn it around. They fire the boss. Sometimes need to fire the boss. Sometimes it's mismanagement from up top. So they fire their manager. Are you all in? Are you all in on this Phillies team right now? Because I don't know if I am. I think I'm polling the voices here. Tell me which side of the fence I should land on.
Listen, I'm all in.
Yes.
After seeing these 4 games, these 4 games, it's convincing me. I'm all in. Rob Thompson, to me, he's already bringing the energy to the team. The energy that this team needed. I feel as though trusting Bryson Stott that's major. You see what he can do. I feel as though he brought the energy. He's making the team feel more confident about themselves.
Isn't that what we all need? We need to. You know what? I wish everybody out there. I hope everybody out there has a mentor in their life that treats them as well as Bryce Harper treats Bryson Stott, because that's what we all deserve. We all deserve a hype man like that. We really do. Let's see. Is Ethan in the chat? Oh no, Ethan's not in the chat yet. I'm looking out for Ethan. He'll get here at some point. Let's see. Our next question, boys. We're staying here in Red June, and we kind of touched on it. We didn't touch on how we feel about it and why. We touched on Rob and how he's kind of turning it around, but I'm not sure if I truly believe that
I hear you.
This 4-game streak is because of Rob Thompson. You can't really sell me on that. I think it's more in the clubhouse, the actual guys taking more accountability there when they are now allowed to. So tell me about this. Tell me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to ask you it in the form of a question. Was it really Joe Girardi? Was Joe Girardi really the problem? And I'll add a little bit to this. Is Rob Thompson the solution? So was Joe Girardi the problem, and is Rob the solution? Tell me about that, Max.
I'm willing to say that Girardi was the problem, at least towards the end. I mean, there were always some pretty ugly things, like I just think like that Giant series, his true final masterpiece as Phillies manager. I think if you just break down that series and what happened, like the manager deficiencies were as noticeable in one series as you want to see maybe in like a month at worst kind of deal. And it was just bad decision on bad decision on bad decision. And I would imagine, and maybe this, I wouldn't have any idea of knowing this for sure, but you'd have to imagine at some point Girardi probably got in his own head, right? Like, I know what I'm doing, or, it could have gone one of two ways. You're either very stubborn because you've been in the business for so long, or you can just try and change everything. Which one's the correct thing to do? The thing that's made you so successful, but has what made you so successful is that just hitting a wall? And eventually at some point that just kind of endlessly tugs back and forth in your brain. So I think that, I don't want to say that the Girardi's washed, maybe probably is, but I think that it probably just the best way to describe it is it became unraveled towards the end.
Unraveled. Okay, so Mekhi, I'm going to shift to you, man, because you told me that you like the energy that Rob's bringing. So was Joe the problem, and is Rob the solution? Talk that to me.
To me, I think Joe was the problem. I feel as though he wasn't confident in his players. He wasn't confident in his players. More towards as Rob Thompson is. He's more. I wouldn't say he's the solution, but he's the solution for right now. Long term, I wouldn't say Rob Thompson, but for right now, he's getting the wins. So right now, he's the solution, and that's all you can ask for.
I think a lot of us agree with that. I do. I think a lot of us agree with that. So Josh, talk to me.
Yeah.
Joe problem, Rob solution. Is that an equal sign, or is there a line through that?
Yeah, there's an equal sign for me there. And Mekhi, you put it very nicely, because I don't think it's about what Rob Thompson is doing or what he will be doing day in and day out. I think it's the lack of the presence of Joe Girardi. Dave Dombrowski in the exit press conference for Joe Girardi, there is one line that I've been replaying in my mind since Thursday or Friday. He was talking about the dismissal of Joe Girardi, and he used the word relieved. Joe Girardi seemed relieved when he was dismissed from his position. And I think that encapsulates exactly how this 29 and 23 or whatever 23 and 29 start or whatever it was when he was fired. That this was a man who was tired of going to work. And we've all been there, fellas. And Max, I know you had a decent run at your last job, but at a certain point, you just go, hey, man, I need to find a new place to work. And I was like, well, what is it, man? You're like, sometimes you just know. Like, I've just been tired of it. Like, I've had a great time here, but I just want to see what else is out there for me. And that's exactly what it was like for Joe Girardi. It's human. And we don't need to sit here
We see it all the time.
Right. And it's true. Even in the press conference and everything. And we don't need to give Joe Girardi the Chip Kelly treatment, right? There are some coaches who deserve that. And he's also not going to get the Doug Peterson treatment. We're not thanking him or remembering everything. It just didn't work out. And it sucked. It's a real bummer that it never worked out. I think Rob Thompson is more of is the solution because he is not Joe Girardi. But then I also do think he has, in the very small 3-game sample size, brought a lot to the table. One of those things was the lineup yesterday, which was just about identical to the lineup that he puts up against righties. And I think there's definitely a place in some teams and some organizations, like the Tampa Bay Rays come to mind, where they've got a great platoon for righty and lefty, and they're very extreme and driven on that. The Phillies, it got to a point with Joe Girardi where all the cliches you heard about him, the whole binder thing, like it really felt like there was no Joe Girardi. It was the Girardi Bot 9000 that was just throwing out lineups and, oh, well, the computer says Familia is good in this situation. Let me throw him out there. Like it was so tiring. And guys like Brad Hand, right, who has a decent amount of innings on this team, all things considered.
I love Brad Hand.
I love Brad Hand too. And it's felt like to me, Familia and Norwood, we're getting a lot of Brad Hand innings, and I think in these
Bellotti and Nelson.
I like Bellotti though, so I wasn't going to throw him in there. I just felt like in these 3-game sample size, you're seeing guys get put in and the relievers in situations that I think are more appropriate, and a lineup that hopefully we're going to get some more consistency here, and Kyle Schwarber can continue being the best 197 hitter in baseball.
So I think Joe was a problem, not the problem. I think the problem with the Phillies is there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of little problems. Joe was a problem. The non-belief in the existing, whatever you want to call it, farm system, they didn't really actually treat these guys like they were prospects. They just treated them like, oh, they're kids. They're going to come up at some point. We'll figure out we'll figure out what to do with them when they get here, and then they never did. And then listen, I was never like the best defensive baseball player, but like this is a team made up of
the worst,
like 6 designated hitters. Like this defense is so. I thought I was all right with it. I think I would be a little bit more all right with it if they weren't 6 games under 500 and the bats were still
absolutely
more alive before this point. But like right now, it is, especially with Segura out, which is just RIP, by the way. He was like the saving grace defensively. He would make splash plays every once in a while and offset like every 10 splash plays with an error. I can live with that.
I've got a real quick hot take, Banners. I think the middle infield is actually a little better. Let Stott and Camargo every day. And that's not a knock against Segura. I think Stott is a real nice shortstop, like defensively.
Well, I mean, they only had to tie the game yesterday because he had to win the game yesterday because of his error.
That's true.
So like
that is true. But then he also made that fantastic play right before. But we can't.
He did. He's young. That's what comes with it. So I don't know, boys. I actually think it's time for a player manager. I think it's time for it to happen. I was screaming for it towards the end of Chase Utley's career.
Wow.
And it didn't happen. But like I think it's really time for like some, and I'm gonna say stupid because it's like I don't mean the organization is stupid. I think it just like it's gonna take one GM to be just like actually insane before he gets fired to try it. Because there's too many managers that are just like out here living in the middle of their binders like Joe Girardi. There's at least 6 other managers that are on the exact same path as Joe Girardi right now. That you can't tell me that one of the guys that's out there playing right field couldn't do a better job managing a team then. Like at least for like a couple months. Like that's like Pete Rose did. If Pete Rose can do it while actively gambling on himself, that's another aspect that they won't have to deal with.
I think that's a testament to Pete Rose's time management skills, if you ask me.
I completely agree. That's a third job that the player would no longer have to deal with. Like he can't gamble. Pete did it. So you can't like a right fielder who plays like every third day, like Brett Phillips. I hate that we're talking about the Rays so much because I'm going to absolutely shit on them later. But like Brett Phillips, you can't tell me he wouldn't be a fantastic player manager because you can tell that dude is just like he has the respect of the players, but he also is very in touch with the everyday speed of the game and his whole team.
And there's a very important element of baseball player managers that makes it feasible. The only freaking sport where the manager wears the uniform. So how about that? I mean, you're already wearing the uniform.
Costs too.
Yeah,
as an organization.
I want to see it. I want to see somebody be crazy enough, like they know their job's coming to an end, and they go, you know what? Let's try this. So I think it's time to bring that back. Last question here, or no, not last question. Another Phillies question. Going out a little bit in the future, how do we see this Phillies team going? So I think we talked about this a little before, Josh and I did before going on air off camera. I actually really think today was a good day to have an off day, Max and Makai. I'm talking to you guys more because we had talked about this behind the scenes. I think today is a really good day to have an off day because how many times I'm so sick and tired of us coming on here on a Monday after like a good Friday to Sunday swing. They either sweep the series or they win 2-3. We come on here on Monday and we start the show up like 10 to 15 minutes before the game starts. And we're like, dude, here we go. They're going to carry the momentum. And they get shelled by like the Rangers or something. Like, you know what I mean? They lose like 7-2 to the Rangers, or like somebody who just like makes me want to just go outside and just hit myself with a baseball bat. Like
worst fella.
Exactly, dude. Like it's like take a day off, sit here, talk about it, let everybody catch up. So what do you think? How are we looking at these Phillies a month from now. So take me into July, Makai.
All right, July. I feel as though we keep this energy going. We eventually go positive. We need to get over 500. That's the main goal by July. We have to get over 500 so we can make a strong playoff push. So I see us just getting over 500 by July, and I see that that's a maintainable goal. I feel that that's a goal the Phillies can get to, especially with the energy now, how we're playing now. That's an easy goal we should be able to achieve by July. So I think that's just the main thing. Get over 500.
I'm going to switch it up on you. I think they have a home game on July 4th. I think July 4th is a home game this year. So do you think they'll be above 500 before, after, or playing for 500 on July 4th?
All right, hold on. Let me look at that record now. See where we at now. I know we should be like 24 and 29. We should 25 and 29.
Let's see.
I feel as though we should be
No July 4th game.
If not
Really?
playing, we don't have one.
They're off July 4th.
Oh,
That's a
Feels
shame.
anti-American.
Sorry, Makai.
But they do wrap up a home series against the Cardinals on Sunday the 3rd. So, like July 4th weekend, they have a home series.
okay.
Well, point still stands, Makai.
All right, so I feel as though we should either be above 500 or fighting for that 500 spot. But me realistically thinking we should be above that 500 spot.
I love it. Josh, so July 3rd, we'll be 500 before, after, or playing for 500 on the 3rd against the Cardinals in South Philly.
I got them playing for 500 here because let's keep in mind they are already down 5, right? Like it's not like it's a walk in the park to climb 5 games over in less than a month span here. Like I'm the guy who's saying I'm all in. Part of the reason that I am all in, and guys, stop me if you heard this before, they've got a very easy second half schedule. And I say that sentence with a lot of caution because I think it's the last 2 or 3 years I've said the same thing. But let's face facts here. Their schedule it's not a tumultuous, it's not terrifying, but they do have to play the Padres again. They got to play the Braves in there. The Diamondbacks have been no slouch, and we know how they always play the Marlins. That being said, you got the Nationals for the first time in there. And I don't have it up in front of me, but there's a couple more. I was looking at it earlier today.
You nailed pretty much all of them.
The Brew Crew is
not
a fun team to play.
Yeah.
That's right. So what I'm saying here is by this point next month, they will be around 500, and I think that's a perfectly fine place to be. Baseball's such a fickle season, you got a long way to go. Get in the mix at the All-Star break, but I'm actually looking at a couple more specific goals here for this team because Makai, you hit the nail on the head. You got to be at the 500 number when July comes around. There are 2 guys that I'm looking at in terms of this team, and I think these 2 guys will really tilt this team one way or another. One is a pitcher, one is a hitter, and it's Ranger Suarez in the pitching department. Ranger Suarez needs to get that ERA below 4 the same way this team needs to get that record around 500 in the month of July. I am the first guy who will be like, hand up, I overreacted. I was all in on the Ranger Cy Young season, and we'll face facts. That's not going to happen. But I'm also not jumping ship because I think it would be ridiculous. He has not looked good this year. His control has been a little bit lacking. But, fellas, I got to believe that this guy's young. He's still figuring out what it's like to pitch an entire 162-game season as a starting pitcher in the MLB. I think he can get that number under the 4 because you know what you're going to get with these other guys. I got no problem with Gibby. He's going to go out there and give you 5 innings. He's not going to set the world on fire. But Ranger Suarez is that one guy in the rotation that if you can get that ERA around 4 or lower, watch out. The other guy is Kyle Schwarber. Because I wasn't trying to be silly when I said he's the best 197 hitter. Like, he is literally the best 197 hitter in the MLB. He's got, I want to say,
it's a prestigious title to have.
It's not bad. Nowadays there's a few 197 hitters in the MLB. I think he's got 14 or 15 long balls. He's got I can't believe I'm using the stat. I'm not an advanced stat guy, but he's got an OPS plus of 121. I'm pretty sure, which if you don't know, the league average is 100. So that means he's like 21 points above the average hitter in the MLB. So although he's hitting 197, he's really producing. I say all this to say he does have to get his average and OBP slightly higher because I think he's going to be great in that leadoff spot the way he's been used before. I am an old-fashioned guy. I don't like using him in that leadoff spot. I need to see that average and OBP gain a little bit more because I think that'll be an absolute juggernaut. Game 1 and Game 2 of that Angel series, it's a home run and a double that missed a home run by a few inches. That's setting the tone, and you saw how it happened in those series. So give me 500, but give me a Kyle Schwarber average around 220. Come on, that's not crazy. Like an average of 220. I know OBP and OPS get all the glory nowadays, and they should. I need an average of 220 Schwarber and an ERA around 4 Ranger. That's a recipe. You are in the mix for the wild card this season. And fellas, real quick, let's not move the goalpost this year. It's getting into the playoffs. Let the Mets do their thing. You know, we don't like them, but I'm focused on wild card spot number 3. I am not moving the goalpost this year.
Max, take me out a month with this Phillies team, and what do you see?
See, part of me is just like, how can I forget that this Phillies lineup is still wildly inconsistent at times, and that doesn't really matter. You know, the manager has no impact on that. With that being said, I think that I'll slightly lean towards the fact that maybe they can keep this momentum and these good vibes going. If they can make it through this Brewers series, hopefully they can get this Brewers series 2-1, and then they can get back home. Like, that can set you up for a nice little run. I think that's their best chance. I think they can go just over 500 enough in the month to get within like a game or two of 500 going to that Cardinal series at the start of July. I'm with you, yeah. So I think that you know we're going to see the bad Phillies again probably as soon as this month, probably against the Marlins, which starts a week from today. So
yep,
like, you know, I'm sure we'll be talking about the Marlins curse, you know, come a week from today. But that just, you know, gives me a lot of trepidation, because every time I buy into the Phillies the last couple of years, whenever they do something exciting, they let me down, quite honestly. So maybe
I have found my benchmark.
Okay,
I have found my benchmark to tell me if Rob Thompson should no longer be the interim head coach.
If they sweep the Marlins
against the Marlins, if he comes out with a winning record against the Marlins after this year, call him the next Joe Torre and give that man a fight.
I think if he sweeps the Marlins in their series starting next week, just give him the gig. Just give him,
because that means he's turned a whole franchise culture around. Because this hasn't just been like a Joe Girardi thing. I'm sorry, Max, I interrupt.
No, you're good. I had nothing else to say. I like that though.
Let me quickly, like in the terms of the short term, like the next month, I think just looking right now, the next 3 series is going to be the biggest stretch, right? Just between, like, I think we got to get ready for them to drop 2 in Milwaukee. It's just me being a realist, but you can drop 2 in Milwaukee when you play. You got the Diamondbacks 3 at home and Miami 3 at home. Like, these next 3 series, how they fare coming off this hot weekend, it's going to be huge. There's a good Milwaukee team, a surprisingly decent Arizona team, but I'm not buying. Like, I think the Phillies can take advantage of Arizona, and then it's that Miami series at home. Can they get over that hump? Because then they play Washington, Texas, San Diego, Atlanta. I feel like that'll even themselves out. It's the next 3 series that are the big one.
I agree. Milwaukee's dealing with a lot of injuries now too, to their starting pitching and their
still gonna have to face Burns.
So I would like to. Are they in Milwaukee or are they home?
In Milwaukee, yeah.
That's a shame. I would have liked to go see Corbin Burns play, but yeah, we'll see. Last question on the Phillies here, and we did this last time. Last time we were angry. This time we're happy. So last time when we were angry, we talked to you guys about our the worst Phillies loss. So when I'm angry, I'm going to ask this question a different way. When I'm happy, I'm going to ask this question a different way. So best Phillies win. Best Phillies win.
Come on now.
Of the last week, Max.
I'll leave the obvious one for whoever goes next, because I didn't get to watch. I did get to watch the 10-0 pretty thoroughly, and that was like the Phillies from the good old days era. It was just like never any worries, absolute beat down. If you're playing in Philadelphia and you're an average team, like, you're not going to come out of here with more than 1 win in a series kind of deal. And I was like, yeah, I mean, the Angels aren't bad, but like the Angels are to me, the Angels are like the Phillies West, where they've just been stuck in mediocrity.
Yeah, Phillies West.
I don't know. So for me, it was the 10-0. It was a relaxing baseball game to watch. That's what I want to do when I watch baseball. I want to relax, and Phillies don't usually let me do that, but that was a nice change of pace.
Makai, your favorite Phillies win of this last week?
Oh, of course, it's the one from yesterday. The Grand Slam. Bryce Harper. I had to take it from you, Josh.
No, you're
This is
good.
the obvious answer. Bryce Harper's grand slam to tie the game
Love
up. Just an amazing win for the Phils. Love it.
Josh, your favorite win? Do you want to double down, or what are you doing?
I'll double down. I'll put my own flair on it.
I mean, that's the game of the year in the MLB.
It's the game of the year. That's the game of the year, man. And the other thing that I failed to mention is two things. All these kids, Dad brought their kids to show them a couple real ball players like Ohtani and Trout, and they left wearing Bryson Stott jerseys from the team memorabilia store. It's such a refreshing feeling, and I think the one thing I actually forgot to mention, I'm glad we came back around for this about the game yesterday, is, dude, Bryce Harper's just such a great ball player. Like, he is who you should want your kid to replicate. There's all this bat flip talk and all that crap about guys showing each other up. That's how you do it. First of all, tank shot right off the bat, and he didn't show up the other guy at all. He looks into his own bench, screams, pumps up, yells, "Let's go!" There's a genuine kid-like excitement from Bryce Harper. That's not this, I'm not an old head when it comes to baseball because I think baseball is like too old. I want to see more bat flips, but I understand that whole thought process. This is something that nobody can get mad at. Like, he's pumping his team up, he's pumping the crowd up. Very genuine. I can't get enough of Bryce, man.
I love that. I was gonna go with the 10-0 that Max said, because that just when I was watching that, it felt like something I hadn't seen in a very, very long time. And I think that was because there's been walk-offs. I was at the Bryce Harper Grand Slam walk-off versus the Cubs a couple years ago. We've seen the walk-offs, and that's not me taking anything away from a walk-off home run. I think it's just, what I'm saying is the 10-0 victory felt different. That was something that we haven't seen in a very long time, so that was just nice to see again. But I'm gonna go with the first one right after firing Joe Girardi against the Giants, with Nick Maton coming up and swatting the home run. Trust the young kids. Come right off it. Your boss got canned. You had to walk in the next day, and you came out.
Oblique for that home run.
What's that?
Nick Maton strained his oblique for that home run. I'm pretty sure he got placed on the injury list the next day, right?
I love that. I love that, especially versus Gabe Kapler, the man of suntan lotion. Like, go out there and give it all. So I'll go with that.
Kapler's missing the Jersey Shore right about now. It's not the same out in San Francisco.
That freaking guy. I've never seen a guy who played whatever. I don't want to get into it.
All right.
Whew. All right. That's enough for Phillies talk, because if we talk about them too much, they might actually fall apart, and the city might just implode. So we're going to do something a little different here for the second half. We don't really need to talk about the NBA Finals right now. There's going to be tons of storylines about that to come.
Well,
Klay Thompson's not hot. The Celtics were hot. Jason Tatum had a terrible game, blah, blah, blah.
Real quick, I know the point total might have not been where you would have hoped, but was Game 2 the Jordan Poole game? You did ask.
Do we call that the Jordan Poole game?
It felt to me watching the game like his shots were all huge, but the numbers were there. I felt like it was the Jordan Poole game just on feel alone.
Real quick, that's a good question, guys. I'm going to come around to you. What qualifies as what would qualify as the Jordan Poole game? Like the numbers, the point total, or like Josh said, the shots being huge? Because I actually think it falls in the latter. I think it can be the Jordan Poole game, even if he only drops
I think it's a mix of the two, but I guess ultimately it would kind of depend on timing over raw numbers.
Yeah, because they blew the Celtics out.
It's like Steph Curry, 29 points. Yeah, that makes it hard for me to call it the Jordan Poole game, because there was no fourth quarter. There was no need for any.
Because that shot at the end of the third quarter. That was
very
impressive.
That was a huge shot.
It was a huge shot.
That was a dagger, man.
So can tell me that, Makai. Is it point totals, or is it like it doesn't matter where the daggers? Does it matter where you throw the dagger? Can it be like a second quarter dagger and that's the Jordan Poole game?
I think it's a little bit of both, but in this scenario, it would be the big shots he made. That's more of it. His big shots just carried over the energy to the rest of the players. So he didn't have to drop them. He didn't have to drop the points. He had the energy from his shots.
That's fair.
My
What I
final,
say? I
my,
said game 5, something like that, and I was
Thank you.
definitely wrong. So
my
right there.
final, my final vote for that being the Jordan Poole game is also their the Warriors bench is a little deeper now. Like I think Poole is going to play less. Like he was averaging 18 in the playoffs going to the finals, so I don't think he's going to be hitting that 18 number. Like I think this
I
will
mean,
be.
that was against the Nuggets. He didn't really do much. And
Yeah,
that's
he
true,
didn't
that's
have to. Doesn't have to. We have teased it. We've teased it for long enough, and now it's finally here. We've kind of forgotten about it because of some storylines that were going on. Second half is not going to be rapid fire. It's not going to be word on the street. It's not going to be finish my sentence or whatever other gimmicks we've thrown at you in the past. It's going to be rankings right now. Okay, we're going to get at you. We're going to tell you our top 5 sports TV shows this time. We're going to come back around in a couple other times for some movies, a couple other topics. And what I want to do is everybody who's watching or listening, throw your top 5 rankings along with us in the comments because I'm actually very curious to see because I thought I had my top 5 earlier today. And then I did a little quick Google search, like top rated sports TV shows. And my list changed very quickly. So I'm very interested to see what other people say. I know mine's, as they all should be, very heavily biased to what I think. So with that being said, I don't want to go full list at one time. So I think what we're going to do is kind of like losers and winners and losers. We're going to go around and we're going to go from 5 down.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the
We're
way to
going to
go
go around 5. So 5 up, I guess, 5 to 1.
Yeah.
So same order. Josh, I'm going to come around to you. We're going to do this. Our top 5 sports TV shows of all time. All right, Josh, number 5 for you.
Coming in at number 5, very recent show here. It is Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, fantastic, funny, very positive, heartwarming show. It started off with a bang, and it comes in at 5. I thought after season 1 it would surely be higher. Season 2, they started losing me a little bit. It became a little bit too cheesy, a little too happy, a little too corny. But I'm not going to take away from the greatness of the show and all the great dynamics. That's one of those shows where great sports show, but not because of the sports actually. So Ted Lasso is my 5. I'll send it down.
Max, your number 5 sports TV show.
All right, at number 5, I got a nice throwback to start us off with. Pros versus Joes.
Good for you. Good for you.
I've never heard of. I don't know what this is.
Oh,
like I've heard legends about
it. It was basically they would just do like drills or just random ability tests of like random guy off the street versus Carly Lloyd or like Tracy McGrady versus random guy off the street in a dunk contest, kind of like just totally random things like that. But it was sometimes they would do like it'll be like a football player, a basketball player, and like a soccer player. And they would all do like 3v3 versus 3 random people in random sports and stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty evident.
That's a YouTube rabbit hole for tonight.
Great YouTube material, I'm sure. I haven't watched it in a while, but I know that I used to love watching it as a kid.
Makai, your number 5 sports TV show of all time.
Okay, so it's gonna be this is not that old, but it's a show I used to watch growing up. I played football. It's called Friday Night Tykes. It's about
classic.
Okay.
Amazing
classic.
Yes, I love that show growing up.
That's a good one. That show exposed some like monsters for parents. Like the crazy people that they can be on the sidelines of their children's sports games. Ooh,
yeah,
that was wild. I like that. My number 5, Max. Actually, this is kind of a call to your poll in Pros versus Joes. I went sports science here at number 5.
Oh, that's a good one.
Nice.
Sports science was I remember it like very vividly after
ESPN
the time.
It was like 4:00 on ESPN too, right?
It was 4:30. It was 4:30. It was right. So it was like you got home from high school and you were cooling for enough time to like have something to eat, get something to drink, and then you sat down for like your afternoon programming before your parents got home from work and everything like that, and they jammed you up with all these chores and dinner or whatever.
Facts.
Sports science was crazy, man, especially for somebody like me who like the only year he paid attention in science was physics. Everything else was just over my head. Then the one thing that was interesting was physics. Just the stuff they used to do with like how far receivers can jump. Like the really popular thing that came from it was the Jenny Finch softball pitch versus all the MLB players. Like seeing Albert Pujols in his prime.
Get tackled by.
Say it again.
Who did Brinkus let himself get tackled by? I remember they set up a drill where they like measured
Yeah.
the force of the tackle. I mean, it was like an NFL linebacker.
Was it
and
like James Harrison?
It might have been that.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound wrong.
It was like the crazy stuff. Like seeing Jenny Finch just like Albert Pujols in his prime getting like smoked by Jenny Finch was like awesome to me. So that's my number 5. Coming right back around for number 4, Josh, your number 4 TV show.
Yeah, so gentlemen, I'm noticing something already. There is a generational divide right here, and we're not that far off. We're not that far off in age. But when I was coming home from school, Sports Science was off the air. It was a special feature during the hour-long Sports Center for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Sports Science didn't have its own 30-minute slot when I was coming home from school.
It was Sports Science was a rare, like it wasn't a consistent thing. Like it was.
I love Sports Science, but I only got the 5-minute clip on Sports Center. I don't know. I got Sports Nation coming home, which I might have actually added, but I was trying to think more of like
Sports Nation was good.
I love Sport with Beetle.
The original one was with like Beetle and
Coward. Beetle and Coward, man. That was the best.
The original one.
But I'm going with a cop-out answer because I don't think I've seen enough sports TV shows. The 30 for 30 series, man. I originally said count it out, man. It doesn't count. And then I was searching around for TV shows and was like, shit, I have to throw 30 for 30. What's better than that, though? Seriously. I mean, if you want to watch a sports documentary, it's going to be 30 for 30. Like, they're just so good at what they do. Real quick, you got a favorite 30 for 30? Top of your head? Anyone?
A favorite? The 84 Bears.
Oh,
Fantastic. The 84 Bears was an incredible documentary. They did that very, very well.
I'll throw mine out there. I love the 2 Escobars. It's slept on. It's about
That's one of my
I think that one slept on, and I've literally watched it more than once because like a lot of these things I've got good background knowledge. This thing just blew my mind about haven't seen it. Colombian drug wars influencing the Colombian soccer scene. It's insane.
Very, very good. Max, you're number 4. Actually, did you say your 30 for 30 that came to your mind?
I actually was going to shout out the 2 Escobars one. I'm trying to remember. I haven't seen a bunch of them so long. The Last Dance was the most recent one that I watched, and
Classic.
It was. I mean, instant classic. Like genuinely, like as good as you'll find in terms of documentary and or sports programming.
I'll tell you what, it did not make my top 5.
What, 30 for 30 or
The Last Dance?
Fair. I'm no forgetting some here. For my list, number 4, I have Sunderland Till I Die, which is a very interesting documentary that actually the first year that it was following the footy club Sunderland AFC in England, they got relegated to the championship. So it was a like all access behind the scenes look into that season and kind of the fallout from it. The premise is that Sunderland, the city, was a big like coal and mining town, so obviously they do not have the same economic stature as they did when sport was more just sport and not a business. So now that it's just it's a different level, right? Like it's think of like the people in Green Bay and how there's not a lot out there besides the Packers.
Good.
Something like that where it's good. But it's fascinating, and obviously I'm barking up the wrong tree here with soccer stuff, but even if you're not a soccer person, you can understand the pressure internally and the passion externally from the people that support it. It's very well done, very well done.
Mekhi, before you tell me your number 4, what's Josh asked the question? Is there a favorite 30 for 30 that pops off your head?
Besides the Last Dance, not really. I think it was the Celtics and Lakers, the frenemies. That was a good one. I like the Celtics and Lakers.
The one with like the cartoon cover, like the thumb. Yeah, okay, I like that one too. That was a pretty good one. Yeah. So give us your number 4 on your list of favorite sports TV shows of all time.
Okay, once again, I play football, so I watched a lot of football TV shows. Mine's gonna be QB1, Under the Lights.
Ooh. Real Mitchell. I think Real Mitchell was Real Mitchell on that show. He was on
yes.
Temple. Yeah.
Yes. A bunch like 3 NFL players that's in the NFL right now. They was on that show. I know Justin Fields was on there.
Oh, there's the clip of Spencer Rattler just being an awful teammate from that show going around recently.
Yeah, he is.
Was Willie Willis on there too?
I'm not sure, but I know the backup for the Giants was on there. I don't know his name, but I know the backup for the Giants.
Jake Fromm?
Yes, Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm was on there.
Right on. Good pull.
0-1 against the
Right on.
Eagles, baby.
Let's see. I feel like that show got lost to the Second
I'm
Chance
with you.
University crowd.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like Second Chance U kind of like overtook that when I
Last
think
Chance U.
QB1 was way better than Last Chance U. That's just personally though. Number 4 on my list is Ted Lasso. I like Ted Lasso not more. I like it because it is a sports show, but I like it for more
Right.
for what it did for the industry in terms of like showing people that a like overtly positive show can do well. And there's a lot of rumors that there's a lot more shows like that coming in
Bring it
terms
on.
of like shows that make sense, like that focus on mental health and focus on a positive outlook. It was a really kind of it was a change up. I didn't know what to expect from it when I first started watching it. People were telling me like, "Oh, dude, like go watch Ted Lasso." I'm like, I don't know. Apple TV, like I at first I didn't even think I had Apple TV Plus. And I turned it on. I was like, "Oh, this is like, wait, a TV show makes me feel good, like
Right.
about the world." This isn't something's wrong here. But I like it for what it did. So Josh, I think you and I kind of echo that same sentiment there in terms of Ted Lasso. Number three. And before we
This is
get
where
into
it gets
number three-
good. This is where it gets good for me. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. This is where it gets good at 3. Number
Before we
3.
do threes, Josh, I want to encourage everybody again to tell us their lists as well because I really am curious because I know we're forgetting some. There's tons out there that I know we're forgetting some. So Josh, your number 3 sports TV show of all time.
Number 3, and I would have liked this show if it was about sports. This would have been number 1 if it was about sports. 15% more. Friday Night Lights. I
Amazing
love
show.
myself some Friday Night Lights. People either love it or they hate it, and that's why it's only 3. Because it was this could have been 1 in a different world. There's a little bit too much drama for it to be number 1. But when I find myself entrenched into these seasons and these storylines, I'm eating up that drama. I'm not a soap opera guy. I'm not like this. Like you can take One Tree Hill and shove it. You know what I mean? I don't want all of that. There is just enough football in Friday Night Lights to get me so invested in all the Tim Riggins and all that crap. You know what I mean? And I eat it all up. I love Coach Taylor. And then they brought the revival with Michael B. Jordan. Shows, not every show can revive itself. And Friday Night Lights revival might have been better than their original plan. Like that's such a damn good show. And I'm a little embarrassed that I like it as much as I did. But hey, man, I'm not a liar. I'll put that right there on number 3. And I'll say it again, man. In a different world, that's number 1. But I got some two big ones coming up.
Max Coolish, your number 3 sports TV show.
I think this is probably going to be controversial, maybe not at least well agreed upon. But for me, I have Blue Mountain State at number 3. I mean,
I love it.
Just an absolute classic, like typical, like has a little bit of every kind of humor mixed into it, and anybody who was like in on Netflix, like the early stages, like Blue Mountain State was like the original show to fall asleep watching. Like to me, Blue Mountain State will always be the show that I had to rewatch. Like I had to go back like 2-3 episodes at a time because I would just fall asleep watching it. It was perfect, mindless television, good for some cheap laughs, enough football to definitely qualify it as a sports, a sports program, but special spot in my heart, shall we say.
Here's my take on Blue Mountain State, which I have never seen on purpose, because I do in fact think that I am better than Blue Mountain State, and that is what I will say.
Hard disagree. It's a classic, man. It is a cult classic. Not even a cult classic. It is just a classic.
It's a classic. Everyone loves it.
Pretty well received, I'd say.
It is. I don't even know where to find it anymore, though. I think it might be on like Spike. I think it's like just on. Yeah, when something's just on Spike, it is either phenomenal or trash. But whatever. Makai, your number 3 sports TV show of all time.
My number 3, I'm going to go with the Hard Knock series.
Ooh, that's
I
a
like
heavyweight answer.
I love watching those. Just to see behind the scenes of the teams, it just feels good.
What pops in my head when I hear Hard Knocks is Shannon Sharp's. It was the rookie on the Ravens playing Shannon Sharp. And if you haven't watched that YouTube video, go look it up. Go look up Hard Knocks, Shannon Sharp, Ravens. a phenomenal interpretation of how Shannon Sharp speaks by a rookie on the Ravens. It's phenomenal. My number 3 is going to be, and this is controversial, and it's kind of for the same reasons that I say Ted Lasso, the Drive to Survive, the F1 series, and I say that because of what it's done for the sport. I don't think the show, I don't think the substance matter is really that good. I don't think it's very well done in terms of some other stuff that Netflix has done. But like it got me, the first season is what got me into F1 a couple years back, and just like seeing how popular F1 has gotten since then is like it's really cool to watch. So it's popularizing motorsport in America. And I'm somebody who grew up on like alternative sports more because I grew up with like racing. I grew up with MotoGP and got away from it towards the more traditional Core 4 in my like adolescence when I could actually play sports. But like returning to motorsport has been like a really cool trend over the past couple of years for me, and seeing the growing popularity. I mean, you look at these drivers, dude, like even some of the lower placed drivers on the grid have like 4 million followers just on Instagram.
Jeez,
like it's crazy. It's crazy how disconnected America really is in terms of like sport in general, and we just focus on football and baseball and
Yeah, because the F1's boring as hell.
false. You don't know what you're talking
So
about.
boring, man.
Incorrect. Josh, before I slap you through the screen,
All right, let's go.
Number
Top
2.
Let's bring it home here, fellas.
Yeah, this is gonna be good. Top 2. So your second best sports TV show of all time.
It's Winning Time, gents, and this is what sparked this whole thing. I don't know if you guys have all seen Winning Time. It is really the best sports show I've seen in quite a long time, and I didn't want to put it this high, but I was really, the season's over. I did a nice hard look, and this has been my favorite show, period, I've seen in quite a while. Didn't really like the new Ozark season, maybe that was a part of it. I watched this right after the Ozark season, like with no expectations, and damn, like forget about just sports. It's a fantastic TV show. It has been out long enough, so I'm not going to go into this and that and why, but the acting's phenomenal. The cast is phenomenal. And, even knowing what happens in this story, I find myself on the edge of my seat. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Number 2 for a reason.
I'll give it a watch.
It was very well done, especially with how mad it got Jerry West in real life. But Max, your number 2 sports TV show of all time.
My number 2 is also Winning Time. It's
Let's go.
objectively, it's the best show. Like Josh did a great job. Like it's done extraordinarily well. The way that it's shot, it's made it like it's made like it's looked like it was made in the 80s. That was a terrible sentence. I wouldn't try that again. It has the look of it being made in the 80s in terms of the effects they put on the camera work and stuff like that. It feels very authentic, but it does it very finely toes the line between what is obviously kind of gassed up for entertainment purposes, but you can tell that the truth it makes it obvious what the truth was, but they stretch it to a comical level to make it a bit more entertaining. But in terms of overall production value and quality of show, it's definitely the best show on my list. But I think I would agree with Josh that it is so fresh in my mind. I quite literally just finished it over this weekend. So I was doing my best to fight recency bias to make sure I didn't put it number 1. Although I would say my number 1 was I'll get to it when I get there, but I'll leave it at that for why I left it at 2.
Makai, your number 2 sports show of all time.
I'm gonna have to say Ultimate Fighter.
Wow.
Oh,
okay.
wow! I didn't even
Ultimate
consider
Fighter's a
that.
good one.
The original, I honestly, I'm not a combat sports guy, but Ultimate Fighter, I saw some episodes of it when it was like the new thing, and it was like it's exactly like what I feel like Ultimate Fighter was before Hard Knocks. Am I wrong?
It was. No, Hard Knocks has been around forever, but Hard Knocks fell off for a time. Like it wasn't really popular for a
Did
while.
they cancel it for a couple of years?
I think
Hard
it might
Knocks
have been,
fell
but
off.
Hard Knocks has been around since
To me, it just feels like Ultimate Fighter was like the breakthrough series in terms
I'm
of
with you, man.
popularity and success with that kind of show, like the behind the scenes stuff. And they're showing that there is a true, there's a real demand for it. But yeah, I would say I was always, I had limited interest in both, but always more in Ultimate Fighter and the storyline. It's always different watching people trying to make it than the guys who actually have.
That's a good poll, man. Who's the last guy? Who's the last like superstar that came from the Ultimate Fighter?
I
couldn't
know
tell you.
I know Nate Diaz was in it. Rashad Evans.
Hmm.
This is up my alley. I bet I never really watched it that much. I'll get back to you on that one.
I'll be honest, Mekhi, I haven't watched the Ultimate Fighter since I stopped paying for cable a long time ago. But that is a fantastic poll. My number 2. I can't believe nobody said this, and I kind of think it's because you guys might not have watched it. Eastbound and Down.
I have not watched it. No.
Oh my
All right,
god!
I'm putting it, Banners. You've ruined it for me. That's one for me. Eastbound and Down is.
Eastbound and Down
Eastbound and
Add
is
it to the list.
It
Add it
there
to the list.
is
Watch Eastbound and Down first. It's incredible.
it is like my friends and I still quote. There's probably like over 50 quotes from Eastbound and Down. All of them are. I cannot say on this because people below the age of 18 have access to the show. None of them are family friendly, but all of them are very easily quotable to your friends. Eastbound and Down is phenomenal. Danny
Yeah, that's
McBride
realistic.
is a legend for that role, and Kenny frickin' Powers is a legend that shall live on. Max, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have led up to it like that.
No, I mean, it's the risk we ran. When we started to hit the top 3, I realized like as soon as Josh said winning time, I'm like, damn, this is about to become a train wreck because Josh is just gonna get to spoil everything for everyone.
So I guess we'll go out of order then. Tell us why it's your number 1.
For me, it's the perfect mix of comedy. Like, yes, it is like sports is the plot, but the things that are said and done in the show are just so beyond outrageous. And Eastbound and Down is like one of, I don't want to say HBO's breakout shows, but Eastbound and Down is before the Game of Thrones and everything that came out on HBO is must-watch TV era. Like, HBO was different back then. It feels different. It feels a lot more loose. Like, I can't believe some of the things they said and did in Eastbound and Down, quite honestly.
Now I gotta watch.
It is.
Yeah.
Josh, it's insane. It's a genuinely wild ride. I banged out all 4 seasons of it in probably less than a month. Like, it was every night. They're 20-minute episodes.
Oh,
It's so
they're
good.
they're quick.
So
They're
good.
maybe like 25-minute episodes because it's HBO, but they go quick. I watched it over the summer maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it was nights like tonight. It was like 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Just watched like 6 episodes of Eastbound and Down, and I banged it out pretty fast.
Max, that's a really good point, dude. There was like, and everybody kind of didn't know when it happened, but you kind of felt the streaming services, like their original programming, get way more fast and loose with like explicit content and language and everything. And it really was around Eastbound and Down's like second season that was like kind of the shift when the streaming services started like doing that more. That's actually a really good point. It's kind of like a line of demarcation. Josh, your number 1. I'm actually really excited to see what this is. Number 1 sports show.
my number 1. Wait, Banners, you said you had an idea. You want to take a guess?
No, I think I'm gonna be off.
All right.
I don't want to be wrong.
It's the League. What do you have been right?
Wow.
The League is my number 1 sports TV show, and I will start by saying this. For me, The League makes it in my list of quintessential comedies of the 21st century, which is Curb, Parks and Rec, The Office, and The League. Those are my 21st century comedies that I think are great. The League is fantastic. One, because I just think it's a damn hilarious show. Like, forget about the sports, kind of similar like with Winning Time. Like, if you take the sports out of it, it is hilarious. What sets The League aside from the other 4 shows, those are all about the athletes. This show is about schmucks like me playing fantasy sports and how seriously they take it. And it's just, man, it's like, if you haven't watched The League, like, I've always seen clips of The League. I never understood like how funny it was going to be. Like, the amount of how funny it is combined with like 2000s NFL references. Like, I think it's funnier now than it was like at the time too, just because of how great the references are. The mix of the cast, the writing, and the references make The League for me my number 1 spot. And it's way different than Winning Time, but I think like there's very few shows that you watch and you can be totally alone and you will laugh out loud. And The League for me was one of those shows. That's why it's number 1, man. And for you with Eastbound and Down, The League is one of those shows that is referenced and quoted many times with friends.
The crazy stuff about The League is most of it was improv. Like, that's like, that crew is so good. They were all stand-up comedians. Like a lot of it was improv. I thought about putting The League on my list, but the last season really ruined it for me.
See, I mean, I didn't watch it live. I watched it all binged. So the last season I barely even paid attention to after all those great seasons.
It gets really dark and really weird, and then Kevin had the guy who played Kevin made
The
like
9/11 thing.
the whole
right?
9/11
Yeah.
thing. It's just it got too
What-
murky at the end.
What were you gonna guess?
What was I gonna guess?
We can get back to it.
I think I was actually gonna guess Blue Mountain State. I'm actually really shocked you haven't watched it. Mekhi, your number one all-time sports TV show. What is it?
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Friday
There
Night
it is. Good. You make me feel better, Mekhi. I take some
It's
flack
number
for
one.
loving Friday Night Lights, believe it or not.
Nah,
Dude, it was objectively a great show. It's like the only sports TV show ever to win awards. I've never seen it. I had it on honorable mentions, even though I've never seen a second of it because it was good enough to win stuff like
amazing
for
show.
TV programming. So it can't be that bad. I just never made it to me.
Mekhi, I'm gonna be honest. I took it off my. It was gonna be number 2 on my list. I took it off my list because I thought it was gonna be said so much by
Fair.
by this team.
I was surprised it wasn't said yet, but then I was like, it has to be said now.
Yeah, that's I took it off my list because I thought it was going to be such a popular choice, and it was. Max, I'm actually truly shocked you have not seen it.
Yeah.
My number one, I'm not surprised. Not many people have seen this show. It's called Brockmire. Has anybody heard of it?
I have heard of it. It's about the Dodgers announcer.
He used to be the Royals color guy.
Gotcha.
So it's on a channel called IFC. It's on, I forget what streaming platform it's on right now. I want to say Hulu. It was on IFC. The actor is Hank Azaria. Hank Azaria, if you know him, is the voice of like 40 Simpsons characters.
Yes.
Truly a hysterical human being that just like has flown under the radar, that like only people in production like know how funny this guy actually is. Got his own standalone show, and Brockmire, it's about a disgraced former baseball announcer who is like, you think you know alcoholics? Like this guy, the character he portrays is like the definition of a degenerate alcoholic. And the later seasons get kind of dark, but the first season is truly the best written season of TV that I've ever watched. I would like, you laugh out loud pretty much the entire episode for the full first season. It is phenomenal. Hank Azaria is wonderful, and Brockmire does not get the credit it deserves. So if you have free time, go look up Brockmire on whatever platform it is. Give it a watch because it deserves it. But yeah, it's a good list right there, boys. It's really good.
Man, I got content now, gentlemen. I've been looking for TV shows. Woo, I'm ready to go.
I got some shows to watch too. I like it.
Yeah. No, go tune. I actually do as well. Before we get out of here, before we get to our tap outs, again, drop those top 5 lists and rankings of your own, because I guarantee you there's stuff that we missed and forgot about and haven't seen that we want to either go back and watch or watch for the first time. Let us know. Drop those in the comments. Yeah, let's tap out here, boys. Let's get out of here. Anybody want to do our thing?
I'm giving you my tap out tonight, Banners.
You can't keep doing that.
Yeah, you got to start.
I'm giving you my energy because we have the same one, and I realized that what we talked about earlier, it didn't click for me until 10 minutes in. That's why you asked me. So I give you my energy for when you go.
That's fair. Josh, Mekhi, anybody have a tap out on the top of their head?
Banners, you take it away, because I've got like a direct, like a nice way to close it out after you.
Okay, Mekhi, what do you want to tap out before I do my soapbox?
You can do your soapbox. I don't think I have a tap out today.
All right.
It's necessary. Yeah. It's a necessary one.
For those of you who haven't seen it, the Tampa Bay Rays, a couple players, and I won't name any names because they were already out there, and they did a very good job of exposing themselves as morons publicly, which is one of the only things that I think is a redeeming quality of social media, is that if you give people enough runway and enough chances, they will tell on themselves that they are morons. And when somebody tells you who they are, just believe them. Just understand that they are being honest through their actions, and they suck. So a couple Tampa Bay Rays players decided not to wear the hat with the rainbow colored Tampa Bay logo for Pride Month, just claiming that the lifestyle that they want to live because they believe in Jesus doesn't allow them to, or they don't want to encourage this lifestyle by wearing a hat with a rainbow colored logo on it. Now, I could fly off the handle and call them names and tell them that they are certain things and that they won't be able to do certain things and they can go certain places and all that. But instead, I will just refer them to the same book that they claim to reference and tell them that if they don't want to wear a rainbow hat, they also cannot wear the jerseys that they wear every day for the game because that same book precludes them from wearing cotton poly blends. They cannot put any condiments on their hot dogs. They cannot eat hot dogs that are pork-based. They cannot go certain places that I guarantee they do on Saturdays past the hour of 4. And a litany of things, including cursing, that I can guarantee that they do in a baseball dugout. So there's so many easier ways just to tell people that you don't like them because they're gay. It's super easy. You can just say it. Nobody's going to blame you because you're telling us the truth. We're just going to hate you. Let's skip a couple steps.
Own it.
And tell people you're homophobic. It's really easy. Let's just get it over with because I already don't like you. Let's just cut out a couple steps. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's a rainbow logo. Go fuck yourself.
Yes.
You're in Tampa Bay. You're playing baseball in Tampa Bay. You don't matter. You're going to get to the ALCS and you're going to lose in a hilarious way. And everybody's going to tell you it's because you don't like gay people, because you made it this easy to clown you. Your stadium is falling apart because it has a roof that hasn't been changed in 30 years. Sit on a baseball bat, dude. It's a rainbow fucking logo. Go die. Whatever.
It's 2022, and there's people who won't wear a rainbow logo because of the good book. Man, oh man. And the first reply to like one of those tweets was some woman saying something like, what happened to people having their own personal beliefs? And it's like, all right, you scream it louder. Go ahead. Show everyone you're an idiot. I'm like, all right. Oh boy. So from a bunch of assholes in baseball to a good guy in baseball, Banners, that was why I wanted to close it out. Thank you for doing the necessary, fuck the Tampa Bay Rays. Not everyone, not all of them, but the few who made that decision.
I'll be cheering against the Rays the rest of the year actively.
Yes, absolutely. And so should we all. I mean, it's fun. So a nice tie-in after we got off the topic of the Phillies. I'll bring it back to the Phillies. And I think that a guy's name who we've lost a little bit is John Middleton. I think that John Middleton is a fantastic owner, and I think we need to start singing his praises a little more. Jeffrey Lurie gets a lot of credit in this town. Hear me out. One, he went over the luxury tax this season. That's first things first. Second thing, I've heard so many people calling in and giving firsthand accounts about talking to John Middleton over this past weekend. And I think that Middleton has been going out. He has spent an hour talking with listeners at WIP at a baseball game. He insisted they call him John instead of Mr. Middleton. And we love Jeff Lurie, but people call him Mr. Lurie. And then a caller called up today and was saying how he ran into John, talked with him for 15 minutes, and said, hey, man, we'll be here at section 130 tomorrow if you want to come meet us. They got to the game late, and at their seats was John Middleton saying, oh, man, I thought I missed you. Just want to throw that out there and sing John Middleton's praises, man, because we hate these rich guys, you know what I mean? These stupid, dumb owners, with all their money. They don't care about the team. John Middleton, man, is in my good graces, and I want to get that out there. I didn't know how to put that in there during the Phillies talk, so I just wanted that to be my tap out, is Middleton has earned my respect, and I don't want to be slandering his name anytime soon.
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, we're all off our soapboxes here, and it's been a fun one. So what I'm going to tell you is if you didn't join us live, you are going to have to catch us wherever you get your podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, anywhere in between. You find somewhere we're not, you let us know. We'll get there. And when you do, you're going to have to let us know your top 5 rankings of sports TV shows. TV shows, don't go movies. That's coming later. Stay tuned for that. This episode was all about TV shows, so leave that in the comments anywhere on any of those platforms. We're going to check because we like to see new stuff that we've either forgotten about or haven't seen, straight up haven't seen.
Yeah.
So thanks for being with us. We got plenty more to talk about next time we see you here. As always, we are brought to you by My New Philly, where something's always new.
And everything.
Everything's always Philly.
always
Philly.
Catch you next time. Have a good week, everybody.
Later.
Man, I can't wait for the Jalen Hurts episode sometime soon. Woo!
I'm leaving that in the episode.
2 months.